Hey YouTube, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a multi-tool video. Normally, I know we do have knife videos on here. This does have a blade, so I guess it kind of qualifies. This is the Leatherman Signal. This is new for this year, 2015, and I was kind of interested in a multi-tool that could, you know, have the flexibility of doing some outdoor survival type stuff. And so when this was finally available, I did go ahead and pick one up, and I've been carrying this around and using it. And as would be expected, okay guys, it's a Leatherman. It's done quite well. And I think the question that we need to ask about this particular multi-tool is, does the trade-off work for me? Okay, because the survival type stuff, the whistle and the fire starter and those kinds of things, obviously, those are not things you're gonna use every day, right? So the question you have to kind of ask yourself is, okay, I'm taking up space on my tool for stuff that is really just emergency use type of stuff. And so you got to ask, do I want to do that? Sorry, I've got a bit of a cough. Wanted to get this video done anyway, so bear with me. So you do have to ask that question, okay? And I'll kind of put that out for you at the beginning, although I'm not going to go into all the tools right now. This is a full-size multi-tool, all right? So it's going to be similar in size to any of the full-size ones, the Charge or the Mutt. And to give you a comparison, this is a Skeletool, and it's more of their medium size, so more like a Juice, or I think maybe a Wave fits into this category as well, okay? So the size and weight on this, it's 4.5 inches when it's closed. Okay, so that's the size of sort of compartment that you're going to need if you're going to put this in a bag or in a pocket or whatever. Normally, it does come with a sheath that you can clip onto your belt. All right, and I know a lot of people would carry it this way. What I will probably be doing, what I will be doing is putting this into a bag that I often use for camping and hiking and stuff like that, so I know I've always got that stuff with me if I really need it, okay? And that's kind of where a lot of the tools on this will sort of fit. Now, now that you've got 4.5 inches, you should know that this weighs 7.5 ounces, which is pretty heavy, although not outlandish for a full-size multi-tool. There's lots of them that land in and around that 7-ounce mark. Some are extremely heavy, some not so much. The blade measurement on this, which is something a lot of people care about, and I just have to share it since I'm a knife guy, is 2 3/4 inches, which you guys know for me, for an EDC knife, is a little small, but I mean, it's not just a knife. So you've got to make a little bit of a sacrifice for getting a bunch of extra stuff, okay? So the next question becomes, is this going to work for you? Is this going to balance out well? All right, and the reason I ask that question is because to decide whether this is something that you'd be interested in, you have to ask yourself, am I interested in, am I willing to carry some extra tools with me? Okay, there are extra tools on here. You're giving up some space in your multi-tool. It's taking the place of other options that are not going to be used often. Okay, so there's a whistle in here and it's taking up space. There's a ferro rod in here. It's taking up space that other tools could be using, but you're sacrificing those other tools for that, you know, emergency situation where you really need to be able to start a fire. Okay, and so you've got to kind of work through that logic on your own and decide whether or not you would want to go with something like this, or whether you'll just go with a normal or more EDC appropriate multi-tool that has those other more maybe to you more useful tools here than this. For me, this was a nice fit because I like to do a lot of outdoor stuff, and it's nice to know that you can drop this in your pocket and have some things that now you don't have to worry about carrying in some other form or fashion. All right. Now, let's zoom in a little bit and I'll start quickly going through these tools with you. We've got the size and weight out of the way. We'll go through the tools and then I'll kind of give you some overall impressions, all right? So, come on in here and check this out. There we go. So you can see there's the pliers right there, pretty obvious. Now they're a fairly fine tip, so Leatherman is kind of famous for doing this, right? They'll claim, well, these are needle nose pliers and regular pliers. Well, by that definition, pretty well any pair of pliers could qualify, or I mean any pair of needle nose pliers could qualify. But yeah, they do have a fairly fine tip, which is typical for multi-tool style pliers. And then in here you've also got a wire cutter and a wire stripper. All right, and that is handy, and it is important to notice that these are hardened steel, 154 cm steel, and they're replaceable, which I think is a really nice feature, especially if this is something you're going to be using all the time and therefore face the potential of wearing those out. All right, so you got your pliers, you got your wire cutters. That's pretty standard fare on any multi-tool. Now we'll kind of do one side and then the other. So if you look with me over here at this side, you've got a carabiner, which also serves as a bottle opener. You've got this hex head right here that my finger's pointing at. And it's got two sizes. There's one on this side, one on that side. Okay, this one's 1/4 of an inch, which of course 1/4 of an inch is a pretty popular driver bit size. So if you've ever gotten a set of bit drivers, this is gonna fit. I do want to point out this one little feature right here that you can see me move with my finger. I'll show you when it's open and then I'll show you when it's closed. So that little wire you just saw move, if you close the tool and pull it out, it now locks this closed. All right. Is there a great need for being able to lock this closed? Probably not a great need, but it's not a bad feature either. On this end, to be used in this fashion, we do have a pounding tool. They call it a hammer. I would be hesitant to call this a hammer, and I will give you this warning. In a survival situation, I would be using this maybe for certain things, breaking a window, smashing down some shale rock for some reason, breaking nuts. But if I needed to actually pound anything, most of the time if you're outside, you can find a big rock that's going to do a better job than this, because let me show you with this pencil. I'll use the eraser end. So if I'm pounding on this pencil and I miss, notice how that eraser bashes right into my hand. And if I'm swinging really hard, that's going to be really uncomfortable. All right, so the hammer, I would call it more of a pounding tool, more so than a hammer, because if you go pounding on a nail with this, you're just asking to hurt yourself. Now, on this side is also a removable, here's a little wire right here, Ferro Rod and Whistle. Okay, so the whistle does work. It's reasonably loud. I don't know how well it'll come across the camera, but I'll give it a blow for you. Just, you can hear it's reasonably loud. Not as loud, I will say, as the whistle that came with my Tops Tebow that I do have in my EDC stuff, but loud enough. And then there's a ferro rod, which by the way does work. I have played around with it a fair bit. That just clips back into the handle. And the other thing on this side is the saw, and like all Leatherman saws, it's quite functional but not very long. Okay, don't expect to go cut a tree down with this or start your own lumberjack business, but if you need to cut something around 2 inches or so, you'd probably be okay doing that. Now flip over to the other handle here, and we've got some stuff folded into the handle. That includes a bit driver that can take those specialty Leatherman bits. Okay, so this one has a Phillips and a slot screwdriver. I have the Leatherman Bit Kit, and I highly recommend this bit kit. Whenever I know I'm going to be taking my multi-tool, I always kind of take these with me. So there you've got, what you've essentially done is really expanded the usefulness of your multi-tool by having a whole bunch of extra bits. Okay, so there's the bit driver. Here you've got your can opener, and bear with me for a second there. There's also an awl on this side, which for a survival tool is fairly handy. Now, we've got that stuff out of the way. By the way, it does lock, so when you open this up, it locks into place. You depress this little clip, and now you can fold it down, okay? One last thing on this side, and that is a sharpener. To release the knife sharpener, you do have to, hold on, there you go. You depress this little clip that also serves to lock the blade, okay? So you push that down, slide that back, and the sharpener comes off. Now this is a very short sharpener, and it's quite coarse. So you're gonna end up with a pretty toothy edge, and you're gonna have to be pretty careful to get, this is not gonna be an easy sharpener to use, and it's not designed to be the sharpener that you now go out and sharpen all your knives with, okay? It's not designed for that purpose. It's designed for, I'm in a survival situation, I've got to have some way of keeping my knife sharp, okay? So, one last thing to show you, and that's the blade. You can see it's partially serrated. I'm not a huge fan of that, but there's no other option in this particular tool, even though on a lot of Leatherman tools nowadays you can select serrated or non-serrated. Okay, so there's one last kind of close-up look for you before I zoom out and give you sort of my overall thoughts. In general, guys, as we've sort of come to expect from Leatherman, this is a well-made and useful tool. But like any multi-tool, these tools are designed to be, I'm kind of stuck and I need something, okay? The idea is not that I buy this with this bit kit and I throw away all my screwdrivers. I would take an actual screwdriver over this any day of the week. I would take an actual pair of pliers over this any day of the week. I would take an actual saw or can opener or hammer or any other tool that's on here. Obviously, the real thing is going to work better than the tool that's put onto a multi-tool. That's not really the design of a multi-tool, to replace the other thing. The design of a multi-tool is so that you can have something in a compact size that you can carry with you all the time, and then you've got some utility, you've got some ability to take care of different things that that can come up along the way. Okay, so if I'm going camping, for example, I'm not going to take this and say, hey, now I don't need matches or some other way of starting fire. I'm going to take this as a backup, and I'm still going to pack my normal way, a lighter or matches or ferro rod or magnesium and ferro rod combination or whatever else you've got. You're still going to take that, okay? Same with the whistle, same with the sharpener, same with the saw blade or the knife or anything else. Okay, multi-tool tools are not designed to replace something else. They're designed to be there if you're really stuck. And that's where I see this coming in really handy. It's a great tool to have in your pocket for, you know, that time where you're working on something and you just need to take out a screw or you need to tighten a bolt that's gone a little loose, and later you can fix it with normal tools, or you're just, you know, you're cutting some wire and then you're going to be, you're not an electrician, okay, but you're cutting one or two pieces of wire and then you're going to be kind of moving on with your day. This is a really handy tool for that, and that's really how all multi-tools kind of function. None of them are really designed to be the end-all and be-all. Now, I will say this sheath is quite good, and it does have, number one, it has a couple little compartments on the side that are pretty handy, especially for a small EDC flashlight. And in fact, there's enough room here that you can even put a pen-style flashlight in here pretty easily. You could put a pen or pencil in here, and there's this flat section in the back that actually fits the bit kit really nicely. So you can throw a bit kit in here and your multi-tool, then add a pen, a flashlight, and you've got a pretty decent loadout. Okay, so there you go. That's my take on the Leatherman Signal. I do find this to be a pretty useful tool for me. You know, this is one of those things where if you're thinking of a multi-tool, this is a good one, but I would strongly recommend you watch some other reviews, you go on Leatherman's website, and you check out all the tools that are available, and you decide which set of tools, okay, best suits my life, my purposes, which one is going to be the most valuable to me. Now, if you're really into outdoors and you're really into survival, maybe you're a hunter, you're a hiker, you're a mountain biker, you're a kayaker, whatever, and you want to have the extra redundancy, maybe the extra backup plan for the ability to start a fire, to whistle for rescue, to kind of survive if you really needed to. This is a great option for that kind of outdoors enthusiast. As I said though, if I was going camping, I wouldn't let this replace my other stuff. I would let it serve as a backup in case something happens. My lighter breaks, my matches all fall out of the backpack on the way in, something like that. Okay, there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know what you think of this tool, and let me know, how you feel about the balance that this tries to strike, because it does have to strike a balance, okay? It's got to have some stuff on there that's useful to have with you every day, and then it's got to have some stuff on there that's really like emergency use type stuff, like the whistle and fire starter, okay? So, That's my take on the Leatherman Signal. We'll talk to you later.